Welcome to Level 11.
In Interlingua, we believe that our students learn more when they know what they have to do in class and at home, and when they know how they should study. The book you have in your hand and the audios available to you online are for homework. It's important that you do your homework regularly and that you come to class on time every day. At Interlingua, we use the following grades to evaluate your overall progress. 10, very good, 9, good, 7, minimum, and 5, not passing. We talk to you during the course to give you suggestions about how you can improve your level of English. At the end of the course, we talk to you individually about your oral grade during the final review unit. There is a written exam at the end of the course. To pass the course, you need to get at least 7 points on the exam and at least a 7 for an oral grade. The goals for the course are to understand and use, how to report statements, commands, requests, and suggestions. He said he had finished the homework and he suggested Carol do the same. How to use causal verbs. I had my hair cut last week. She made her kids eat vegetables. How to make deductions about the present and past. Ryan didn't come to school. He must be sick. They just bought a new car. They must have been saving money for a while. How to ask and answer politely. Could you tell me where Doug went? I'm sorry, I really have no idea where he went. How to report what people ask. I asked him where his boss was. She asked me if I could help her. How to talk about wishes in the past. He wishes he hadn't spent so much money on vacation. How to talk about imaginary situations in the past with consequences in the past and now. If he hadn't gone to New York on vacation, he wouldn't have spent so much money. If he had stayed home, he'd have money for rent now. How to talk about past regrets. He should have stayed home. How to use adverbs and adjectives in a sentence. She has on a beautiful new red jacket. Taylor usually drives to work very quickly. Another goal is to learn vocabulary. It's important to use these structures with good grammar and fluency. If you have any questions, problems, or recommendations, you can ask your teacher, coordinator, or director. Unit 1. A difficult client.
Is everything ready for the presentation that you have to give to Mr. Preston and his marketing people tomorrow?
I think so, but it's been really challenging. He has called me at least 5 times in the last week to make changes to what he wants.
When we had that meeting last week, he said that he wasn't going to ask for any more changes, didn't he?
Yes, but that hasn't been the case. First, he told me that he liked the model we had used. Then on Monday, he asked me to find a different one because he said that he didn't like the hair of the model. I sent him various options and he rejected all of them. He explained that he wanted a model with short blonde hair, someone that looked like his daughter.
You're kidding, right?
I wish I were, but no. So I had to find a model with short blonde hair. He finally seemed happy with the model, but then he suggested we use his daughter rather than a model. He said she's a beautiful girl. I explained that I didn't think that was a good idea, but he insisted. In the end, we had to give in and use his daughter, Cassandra, for the ad. After all, he is the owner of the company.
And how did that go?
Not well, as you can imagine. She's a striking girl, but had never done any modeling, so it took the photographer forever to get a shot that was usable. The photographer told her to relax, but she was very stiff in front of the camera, and in many of the shots, she looks really uncomfortable. She doesn't really connect with the camera or the audience.
Can I see the pictures from the photo shoot?
Sure, this is the one we decided to use. She looks a little more relaxed in this one.
I see what you mean. Has Mr. Preston seen the pictures?
Not yet. He wants me to choose the one or ones I think are the best and include them in the presentation for tomorrow. I don't think he wants the people in his marketing department to know it's his daughter in the shots.
Yeah, but what if they say they don't like the model? It could be a very awkward situation.
I agree, but there isn't much we can do about it, is there?
I suppose not. Let's hope the presentation goes well tomorrow.
Audio Practice 3.
Yesterday, police arrested a man after he tried to rob a local grocery store. The man, who seemed to be drunk at the time, entered the quick stop with a gun and told the owner to give him all the money in the cash register. The owner noticed that the gun looked like a toy, so he refused to give the man the money. The robber got angry and started to destroy the store. While he was doing that, the owner called the police, who arrived in a few minutes to arrest the man. The police later identified the man as Drew Taylor, an unemployed taxi driver. The weather today will be hot and sunny. The high today will be 94 degrees, and the humidity will be 85%. If you go out, you should wear sunscreen and make sure you drink plenty of water. If you plan to work outside, we're recommending that you do so early in the morning or after 6 p.m. If possible, keep kids and elderly people inside where it's cooler and keep them hydrated. There will be storms tonight, and the temperatures will drop. Tomorrow, it will be much cooler with a high of only 86 degrees and very little humidity. Don't forget that tomorrow we will have the Summer Days Parade. The parade will start at 11 a.m. leaving from Main Street and 7th Avenue. It will travel along Main Street through downtown and will end at Burton Avenue. Many of the streets will be closed from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You will be able to park at the city parking lot and take the free parade buses that will take you directly downtown. The free buses will run from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. In addition to the parade, there will be rides for the kids, games, and many other activities for the whole family. We will be broadcasting live from downtown, so we hope to see you there.
Unit 2. Not my ideal job.
I'm fed up with this job. I really need to find something that's more intellectually challenging.
What's the matter?
It's my boss. He hired me as his assistant, and he told me that I would be helping with different projects that the department was undertaking, and that I'd be contributing to the goals of the department. However, this has not been the case. I didn't study 4 years at the university to get a degree in business administration in order to become a gopher.
A gopher?
Yes. Go for coffee, go for copies, go for a sandwich, etc.
I see. So you're more like a personal assistant than a business assistant, right?
Exactly. Last week, he had me make a doctor's appointment for him. He had me call all over the city to find a video game his son asked him for. And then he had me order flowers for his wife's birthday.
And do you work on any projects for your department?
No, none. He told me that he wouldn't let me work on projects until I had proved that I could do a good job. But how can I prove that I can do more if he never gives me a chance? Last Friday was the last straw. He made me go to his daughter's piano recital because he had an appointment and his wife was busy. Can you believe it? And then after the recital, when I got back to the office, I noticed he had left some suits on my desk. I put them in his office, and he said that he wanted me to take them to the dry cleaners and pick up some shirts he had left there.
So, he got you to pick up his dry cleaning.
Yes, what could I do? If I say I won't do these things, he starts yelling at me that I'm a lousy assistant.
Why doesn't he get his dry cleaning picked up at his house? The dry cleaning place has a pickup and a delivery service.
I think he just likes to have everything done by me.
Have you considered talking to someone in human resources about this?
What good would that do? He's the boss of the human resources manager.
Then I think you're right. You need to start looking for a new job. You should look for something that will take advantage of your skills because this job is clearly underutilizing your talents.
I agree. So if you hear of any jobs out there, let me know.
For sure.
Audio Practice 3. Jesse is building a house for Sean. Sean is asking about the progress on the house.
Well, the house looks good, but it doesn't look like we can move in 3 weeks.
There is still a lot to do, but I'm pretty sure we'll be ready in 3 weeks.
Can we go in and see what's been done?
Let's go. As you know, last week we had the floors laid, and yesterday we had them finished.
They look nice. What about the kitchen?
We've had a few problems with the kitchen, but we'll have the floor laid tomorrow, and on Monday we'll get the cabinets installed.
Have the appliances been delivered?
Yes, they're in the garage right now. We'll have them put in when they install the cabinets.
Can we check the bedrooms?
Sure. We had the bedrooms painted last week, and the closets were installed earlier this week.
They look good. What about the bathrooms?
We'll have the bathrooms finished in another couple of days. As you know, we've been waiting for the bathtub that will go in the master bathroom. They sent the wrong one, and we had to send it back.
Right. Well, it looks pretty good. What about the outside? Are you going to paint it?
Of course. We'll have the outside painted and finished by the end of next week.
When will we get the house inspected?
The inspector will be here on June 18th, in 2 weeks, so we have to have everything finished before that.
Everything looks good. I'll stop by again next week to see how it's going. Call me if there are any problems.
All right, will do.
Audio Practice 7.
Did you see that hypnotist on TV last night?
No, why?
It was great. First he asked for volunteers, and about 10 people got up on stage. He then hypnotized them all. There was this really big, macho-looking guy that he hypnotized, and he had him dance like a ballerina. It was so funny. The next person he chose was a woman that looked like someone's grandmother. He got her to dance the tango with a guy that was also on stage. They actually did a pretty good job considering. Then he chose this couple, and he had the guy bark like a dog and had the woman meow like a cat. It was hilarious. He also had another woman sing the national anthem. It was horrible. She couldn't sing at all.
You know, I think all of those things are fake. Those people were probably actors that he paid to do those things.
I don't think so. They even interviewed some of the people and their friends and relatives after the show. And they were all surprised at what the hypnotist was able to get those people to do.
Have you ever been hypnotized or seen someone who had been hypnotized?
I've never been hypnotized, and I've only seen it on TV.
Well, when someone is hypnotized, they're in a very focused state. So the person who hypnotized them can give them suggestions that they will most likely follow, but only if they want to. A hypnotist can't force a person to do something he or she doesn't want to do. For example, a few years ago, my mother wanted to stop smoking. The whole family had been urging her to quit, and finally one day she agreed, but she said she couldn't do it alone. So she found a hypnotist who specializes in helping people to quit smoking. He hypnotized her and while under hypnosis, gave her suggestions and things to focus on like, smoking poisons your body, and you need your body to live. It helped my mother quit smoking. But the key was that she wanted to quit.
So you mean that those people on that show did those things because they wanted to?
Right. Either that, or as I said before, they were actors and did what the hypnotist asked them because he paid them.
I don't know. I think I'm going to look this up on the internet and see what else I can find out about hypnosis. It's really interesting.
Unit 3. Where's everyone?
Where is everyone?
Well, I'm here, Dad.
I know you are. But where are your brothers and sisters? Where's your mother?
Well, Tanya always has soccer practice on Saturdays, so she must be at practice. They've been training really hard lately because they have a big game next week.
But how did she get to practice?
Mom must have taken her there.
And Ethan? Where's he?
He was saying yesterday that he'd been having a problem with his motorcycle. He said something about having to take it into the shop. I assume that he must have gotten up early to take it there. He needs it to be able to get to school on Monday, so he needs to have it working.
He should have told me. I might have been able to fix it. Oh well. What about Tracy? Where's she?
She must still be sleeping. She had gone to Anna's house to work on a presentation they have to turn in for their sociology class on Monday. They must have been working until really late because she got home around 3 a.m.
At 3? How did she get home? Why didn't she call me?
Don't worry, Dad. Anna's dad dropped her off.
Okay, what about Blake?
I don't really know. He may be doing exercise. He might have gone to Ryan's house to hang out. Or he could be at baseball practice.
Okay, and your mom?
Oh, that's easy. She must be at the beauty salon. She has been talking about getting her hair cut all week. She must be having a day at the salon, you know, having her hair cut and having highlights put in, having a manicure and pedicure, and getting a body massage.
She'll probably be back home around 2 o'clock.
That means it's just you and me for breakfast, right?
Yep, Dad. Why don't we go to Mama's for breakfast?
That sounds like a great idea. I love their homemade blueberry muffins, and their omelets are out of this world.
Great. I've been dying for some chocolate chip pancakes, and theirs are the best.
All right, then. Let's go.
Audio Practice 3.
What's that?
I have no idea. It must be a refrigerator or something like that. The box is huge.
But we didn't order anything, did we? Why would they deliver this to our house?
Let's look at the label. Maybe it was delivered to the wrong address.
Yeah, that must be it.
Well, I can't see a label. It might be on top of the box. Let me get a chair so I can see the top.
So, what does it say?
It has our address, 2376 Placid Drive, but it has a different name. It says James R. Rogers. Do you know a family that lives on our street named Rogers?
No, but the people at the end of the street are new, and I don't know their name. They just moved in last weekend.
Maybe they bought a new refrigerator and asked for them to deliver it. They could have made a mistake with the address.
You're right. That must be it. I'm going to go over to their house to see if they ordered this.
Good idea. I'll go with you.
Hi, my name is Maya Davis, and this is my husband, Austin. We're your neighbors from down the street.
Nice to meet you. I'm Charlotte Rogers. My husband and I just moved in last weekend.
Yes, we know. The reason we're here is because someone delivered a huge box to our house while we were out this morning, but it's not ours. We were wondering if it might be yours.
That must be our new refrigerator. Why did they deliver it to your house?
Well, it says it's for James R. Rogers, but it has our address, 2376 Placid Drive.
James is my husband, but our address is 2736 Placid Drive. He probably made a mistake when he gave them our new address. My husband is terrible at remembering numbers. Let me get the receipt they gave me at the store. Yes. Look at this receipt. He gave them your address. I'm so sorry. The problem now is, how am I going to get it from your house to mine? I'll call my husband and his brothers. I'll have them get it off your front porch by this afternoon.
Don't worry about it. And if you need additional muscle, let me know. I can help them move it too.
Thanks so much. It's so nice to have such nice neighbors.
No problem.
Activity 1. Listening. Dialogue 1.
Good evening and welcome to Creole Lanes. Are you interested in paying by the hour or per game?
Well, we're interested in staying for a couple of hours, and it's just the two of us. This is my wife's first time, and I'm not really that good, so I don't imagine we'll be finishing the game that quickly.
I understand. What are your shoe sizes?
I'm a 9.5.
6.5 for me, sir.
Here you go, guys. A 6.5 for you, ma'am, and a 9.5 for you, sir. For 2 hours of play and the shoe rental for 2 people, the cost is $75.
Dialogue 2.
Is this your first time applying?
Yes.
Do you have all the required documents you were asked to bring in today?
Yes, sir. Here is my appointment letter, passport, birth certificate, photographs, and here's a letter from my job verifying that I have worked for them for over 20 years.
Everything seems to be in order. Tell me, why are you interested in taking this trip?
My son has been living in Chicago for about 5 years now, and he hasn't come home for Christmas since moving there. I'd like to be able to spend time with him, and of course, I'd like to go shopping.
Dialogue 3.
Where do you want us to put the shrimp?
Please put it in the fridge for now. That's going to be our special this evening, so we don't want to put it in the freezer. What's the status on the lobster? Shouldn't the lobster have arrived with the shrimp?
Yeah, but they were all out, so we won't be having lobster for this evening.
That means we'll have to take lobster off the menu. I hope we don't get any angry customers because of that. Did we receive all of the vegetables we ordered from the market?
Yep, we got everything.
Perfect. Let's get to work. We've got a lot of hungry people to feed later on.
Audio Practice 7.
Elena, what happened?
David, I'm so glad you're here. I'm not really sure what happened. When I got home, Dad was lying on the floor unconscious.
Well, did he fall down?
I don't really know. He may have fallen and hit his head, or he could have fainted and then fallen. We just don't know yet.
Did you see if he had any bruises or marks on his head, arms, or legs?
He seemed to have a bruise on his arm, but it could have been from something else and not from falling.
And what about Mom? Wasn't she with Dad?
She had gone next door to Dorothy's house for coffee. She said that he was watching TV when she left. We think he must have stood up and got dizzy, and that caused him to fall. I think he must have hit his head when he fell. He hasn't been feeling right since they changed his medication last week.
Well, why did she leave him alone then?
He was fine when she left him.
And what did the doctors say?
They're still checking him. Look, here comes Mom with the doctor.
What happened?
Well, apparently your father has been feeling dizzy from the medication he's been taking. He said he stood up to get some water, and the next thing he knew, he was in the hospital. He must have hit his head when he fell, because he has a bump on his head. But other than that, he's fine.
I'm so glad to hear that. When I saw him lying on the floor, when I got home, I really panicked. I immediately called an ambulance.
The doctor says that the medicine he's been taking is probably a bit too strong, and that's why he's been so dizzy.
Well, I'm happy to know it's nothing serious.
You should take him to see his regular doctor tomorrow and see if he can change the prescription so that he doesn't feel so dizzy.
I'll do that. Thank you, doctor.
Can we go see him now?
Sure, go right ahead. I'll finish the paperwork so you can take him home. Just don't leave him alone until you get his prescription changed.
We won't, Doctor. Thanks.
Unit 4. A phone conversation. Carter and Marla are driving home.
My phone's ringing. Could you answer it?
Hello?
Yes, I'm looking for Carter Davis. Is he there?
I'm afraid he's driving and can't answer. Can I help you with something?
Yes, I'm calling about his computer.
It's the computer technician calling about your computer.
Can you ask him if he was able to fix the problems I was having?
My husband wants to know if you were able to fix the computer.
Well, yes and no. We updated his operating system and put in more memory, but there is still a problem. We think it's most likely a virus.
What did he say?
He said that they put in more memory and updated the system, but he thinks there's a virus.
Ask him if they can get rid of it.
My husband asked if you'll be able to get rid of the virus.
I hope so. Do you know if his computer had an antivirus installed? We don't see one on his computer.
He just asked if your computer had an antivirus installed.
Could you tell him that I had just purchased one, but when I tried to install it, I couldn't. That's when the machine crashed. To install it, you need to go online and put in the product code to download it.
He said he had just purchased an antivirus, but the machine crashed when he tried to install it. He said you can download it off the internet.
Okay, we can do that, but I'll need the product code. Do you have it?
He wants to know what the product code is so he can install the antivirus.
I don't remember the code, but I have it at home. Tell him I'll call him with it as soon as I get home.
He said he'll call you with the product code when we get home.
One more thing. I was wondering when he had made a backup copy of his files.
He just asked me when you last backed up your files.
The last time I did that was about 3 months ago. Ask him if he could make a backup before continuing to work on the machine. I have all of our photos and music there and some important files from work.
Would it be possible to make a copy of his files? He said that he hadn't made one recently.
Tell him we'll do that. I'll be expecting his call a little later.
I'll let him know. Thanks.
Audio Practice 3.
English language testing. How may I help you?
Hi. I'm currently studying English at an institute, but plan to go to the U.S. next year to study a master's degree. I was wondering if you could tell me what type of certification I'd need for that.
Sure. If you want to study in the U.S., you'll need to take the TOEFL IBT exam. Most universities require a score of between 80 and 95 to be accepted into a master's program.
Isn't that a very low score? I once took the TOEFL exam a few years ago and got 480.
You must have taken the TOEFL institutional test. That test is not valid for admission into universities. In fact, it's only used locally to determine if you need to take additional English courses at a specific school or not. The TOEFL IBT exam scores go from 0 to 120.
I see. Do you know when and where I can take the IBT exam?
I'd recommend that you check the TOEFL internet page. All of the information is there.
Thanks.
English language testing. How may I help you?
Hello, I'm applying for a job at a company, but it says I need to have a TOEIC score of 600 or higher. Do you know what that is?
Of course. TOEIC stands for Test of English for International Communication. It tests a person's ability to use and understand English in a business setting. Most companies around the world ask for a TOEIC certificate as part of their hiring process.
I see. And is the TOEFL the same thing? I took that a few years ago.
No. TOEIC is for business purposes, and the TOEFL exam is for academic purposes. If you want to get into a university in the U.S., you'll need the TOEFL. For most companies, you will need the TOEIC.
Okay. Can you tell me where I can take the exam?
Sure. The next exam is in 3 weeks. You need to come in, pay, and provide an official ID for us to register you.
Do you think I could use my passport as an ID?
Of course.
One more thing. Do you know how long the exam lasts? And what's the maximum score you can get?
The exam usually takes 3 hours. 2 hours for the exam and about an hour to fill in the answer sheet and go over the instructions. As to the scores, well, the minimum score on the TOEIC exam is 10 and the maximum is 990.
Thanks. I'll stop in tomorrow to register.
English language testing. How may I help you?
Hi, my daughter is interested in becoming an English teacher. Can you tell me if there is some kind of exam or course that you can offer her?
Well, does she speak English?
Of course. She studied psychology at a university in the U.S., but now she wants to teach English.
I see. Well, the course we can offer her is the CELTA.
Could you tell me what that is?
CELTA is a certificate in teaching English to speakers of other languages. It's a practical and theoretical course that prepares people to teach English.
That sounds like what she's looking for. Do you know how long the course takes to complete?
That depends on whether she wants to do it full-time, part-time, or online. I think it would be best if she stopped in to see us. We could explain all the options to her.
All right. I'll let her know. Thanks for your help.
No problem.
Activity 1. Reading, writing, listening, speaking. Looking for an apartment. Apartment 1.
Hi, this is Natalie Carson, and I'm calling about the apartment you have for rent.
Okay. What would you like to know?
Well, the ad says it's a 2-bedroom apartment, right?
Yes. It has 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room, a dining room, a small office or den area, and a kitchen.
It sounds large.
Actually, it is quite large.
And how much is the rent?
It's $700 a month.
Does that include any maintenance fees?
No, the maintenance fees are $100 a month, but that includes your water and cable. You have to pay for your phone and electricity separately.
Okay. Does the apartment have a parking space for my car?
Yes. Each apartment has 1 space, and there are a few additional spaces for guests.
That sounds good. Is the apartment close to public transportation?
Not really. The apartment is in the Westover area, and there is very little public transportation around there.
Are there shops or restaurants close by?
There is a mall, and there are restaurants within driving distance, about 15 minutes from the apartment by car.
All right. One more thing. What floor is the apartment on?
It's on the 2nd floor.
Is there an elevator?
No, I'm afraid there isn't.
Okay. When could I see the apartment?
How about tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
Tomorrow is fine. And since it's Saturday, 10 a.m. is perfect.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks. Bye.
Apartment 2.
Hi, this is Natalie Carson, and I'm calling about the ad you have in the paper for the apartment for rent.
Right. Well, it's a 1-bedroom apartment. It has 1 bathroom, a living dining room area, and a kitchen.
How much are you renting it for?
It's $750 a month.
Okay. Does it have a parking place?
Well, you can rent a parking place. It costs an additional $50 a month.
All right. Are there any maintenance fees that I'd have to pay?
No, you would have to pay for gas, water, and electricity, but nothing more.
What floor is the apartment on?
It's on the 4th floor, but there's an elevator.
Great. Is the apartment close to public transportation?
Yes, the bus runs on 3rd Street, which is 2 blocks from here. Also, in the area, there are many shops, restaurants, and other services, all within walking distance.
Sounds good. When could I see the apartment?
How about this afternoon? Would that work for you?
Sure, but it would have to be after 6 p.m. when I get out of work.
Okay, I'll see you at 6.
Thanks.
Audio Practice 7. Dialogue 1.
Paula, where did you put it?
Mom, I left it right over there.
Well, it's not here now, and I need it to finish your hair.
Don't you have another one?
No, I only bought one, so look for it.
I can't find it. Can't you buy another one?
No, you'll just have to go without it.
But, Mom, I can't be a princess without a crown.
Dialogue 2.
Hi, Carrie. What's new?
Hi, Lily. Guess what? I saw Ray yesterday at Gino's Pizza Parlor.
Who's Ray?
You know, Grace's husband.
Oh, him. Did you say hi to him?
No, because he was with another woman, and it wasn't Grace.
Really?
Yes, and they looked really friendly. At one point, he even took her hand.
What did she look like?
Well, she had dark hair and dark brown eyes.
Was she very thin and short?
Yes.
It's probably Ray's sister, Angie. She's here on vacation this week.
That's good to know. I was really worried.
Me too. Why don't we order now? I want a slice of chocolate cake.
Sounds good.
Dialogue 3.
Thomas, is everything ready for tomorrow?
Almost, Charlie. I'm just finishing up with this. I want to add some pictures to it. Do you know how to do that?
Sure. What pictures do you want to add?
I have some from the last convention in a file.
Let's see what you have.
These are the pictures.
Okay, which ones do you want to use?
These two.
Okay, copy and paste them onto the slides you want them on.
Right. This picture is too big. How do I make it smaller?
Just make it smaller by clicking on the corner and pushing it towards the center.
Great. That's it. We're done.
Well, I hope Mr. Granger likes our ideas to increase sales.
Me too.
Audio Practice 11.
So what happened?
We were driving, and when we got to the corner of Maple and Rice, the light was red, so I stopped.
What did you see?
Steve was checking a message on his phone when I saw two guys running down the street. I told him to look at the guys running towards us.
What did they look like?
One of them was really tall, with long brown hair.
What was he wearing?
Jeans, a white t-shirt, a black hoodie, and tennis shoes.
And the other one?
The other guy was average height. He had short blonde hair and a beard. He was wearing jeans, a black t-shirt, and a blue vest. Oh, also, he was wearing a red cap.
You said earlier that one of them had a gun, right?
Yeah, the blonde guy was running after the tall guy, and the tall guy had a gun in his hand.
Was the blonde guy trying to catch the tall guy, or did they look like they were together?
I thought that the blonde guy was running after the tall guy, but they could have been together.
Did you notice anything else? Did they have any identifying marks?
Well, the blonde guy had some tattoos on his arms.
Were you able to see the tattoos clearly?
More or less. One of the tattoos looked like some kind of leopard or tiger. It was some kind of cat, and it was orange and black.
That's helpful. Thanks.
So, who were these guys?
Well, a grocery store owner said that two guys looking like the ones you saw had tried to rob his store a short time before you had seen them.
Well, I hope you catch them. When I saw that guy running down the street with a gun, I was really scared.
We're working on it. Just one more question. Which way did they go after they passed you?
They ran down Maple Street and then ran to the right around the next corner. I think that's Peach Avenue.
Right. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Unit 5. A Las Vegas Vacation.
How was your vacation?
Awful. I wish we had stayed home.
Why? What happened?
Well, on the first day we did some shopping, and then we went to a show in the evening. But after the show, my husband decided to do some gambling. I was tired and went to bed. And when I got up in the morning, he still hadn't come back. I went to look for him, and he was still gambling.
You're kidding.
I wish I were. I tried to get him away from the tables, but he refused. He said he was winning and wanted to keep on playing.
So what did you do?
I went shopping and took one of the city tours. When I got back to the hotel, he was sleeping. Later, when he woke up, he went down to the casino again and continued gambling.
Well, was he at least winning?
That's the thing. At first, he was winning. After 2 days, he had won over $9,000. I guess that's why I let him continue. I figured we could use that money. The problem came on the third night.
What happened?
He was gambling just like the previous 2 nights, but this time all he did was lose money. By the end of the night, he had lost the $9,000 plus some of the money we had put aside for shopping and gifts.
He should have stopped as soon as he saw he was losing money.
That's what I said. If he hadn't continued to bet, we would have had $9,000 to spend. If he hadn't lost everything, I could have gotten some great things at the stores there, and now we would have extra money to put in the bank.
So what did you do after that?
I had to drag him away from the tables in order to get him to stop gambling. He kept saying he was going to start winning again and that he'd make all that money back. I knew that if I let him continue, he might have spent all the money we had in the bank. It was a little scary. It was like he was another person. Had I known he would react like that, I never would have suggested going to Las Vegas on vacation.
Yeah, but how could you have known? You know, you'll have to keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't start gambling now that he's home.
I know. That worries me.
Audio Practice 3.
Good morning and welcome to our show today. With us today we have Dr. Jean Hayes, who has recently written a book called Living Without Regret. Hello, Dr. Hayes.
Good morning.
So, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, I have dealt with very sick patients over the years and had come to realize after talking to hundreds of them that most of them had the same or similar regrets in life. That inspired me to change the way I live my life, and I thought it would be something that others would like to know.
Interesting. So what are the things most people regret in their lives?
The first thing, which probably isn't surprising, is that most people wish they hadn't worked so much. They wish they had spent more time with their families. They regretted spending so much time at work and so little time with their spouses and children.
Yes, I can relate to that. It seems everyone just wants to make more money and get ahead.
Exactly. But in the end, it's something people regret.
What other things do they regret?
Many people wish they had done the things in life that they wanted, rather than those things that others expected of them. They wish they had gone after their dreams, rather than doing those things their parents, society, their spouses, etc. wanted them to do.
I see.
Another regret many have is that they wish they had stayed in touch with friends. Oftentimes we let relationships with our friends slip, and this is one of the things people regret later in life. A fourth thing that people mentioned is that they wish they had been able to express their feelings. People often say that they did things that they didn't really want to, and this caused them to feel angry or bitter. They wish they had had the courage to tell others what they wanted or how they felt.
Yes, I can see how that would be very stressful.
Exactly. Often those feelings of anger and bitterness were later reflected in illnesses like high blood pressure, strokes, and heart attacks.
Wow, I had no idea.
And the last thing that most people say is that they wish they had let themselves be happier.
But can you choose to be happy?
Of course. Many people think that exterior things like a new car, a house, clothes, trips, etc. are the things that make a person happy. But happiness is something that is internal. All the money and other things in life won't make you happy unless you are happy inside your skin. And being happy is a choice. You decide how to react to those things that happen to you in life. You can choose to let everything make you unhappy or simply go with the flow and know that external things won't affect your happiness.
Very interesting, Dr. Hayes. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, Dr. Hayes will tell us how she incorporated some of the things she has learned into her life.
Audio Practice 7.
2 nights ago, I went out with some friends. We went to a bar, and we had a few drinks, and then we played pool until 2 a.m. I had left my phone at home, so my girlfriend tried to call me but couldn't get a hold of me. I had forgotten that I was supposed to take my girlfriend to a play. She had bought tickets to some romantic show about 6 weeks ago, and I forgot that it was that night. She didn't remind me about going to the show either. When I called her yesterday, she wouldn't talk to me. She told me that I was selfish and only thought about myself, and then hung up the phone. I tried calling her all day, but she wouldn't talk to me. I called her mom, and she told me that Morgan was really angry because I had forgotten about the show. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I should send her flowers. I hope she can forgive me.
Activity 1. Listening, speaking.
Have you ever had a dream or premonition that came true? Well, today on our program, we have 3 people who all say that they had premonitions. First, let me talk to Dan. Hi, Dan. How are you today?
Great, thanks.
So, can you tell us about your premonition?
Yeah, about 3 years ago, I was driving home from work, and all of a sudden, I got this horrible feeling that something was going to happen. I felt so bad that I stopped at a store to get some water. I was sweating and could hardly breathe. I stayed there for about 15 minutes until I felt better. I got back in my car and continued driving home. When I was getting close to the bridge that I crossed to get home, traffic stopped. We sat there for a long time, and none of the cars moved. Eventually, most of the drivers got out of their cars and walked towards the bridge. When we got there, we could see that the bridge had collapsed into the river. It must have happened a few minutes before I got to the bridge. If I had been on the bridge, I probably would have died. If I hadn't had that horrible feeling, and if I hadn't stopped at the store, I could have lost my life that day.
That's incredible. Had you ever had an experience like that before?
No, never. But I can tell you that if I ever get a feeling again that something bad is going to happen, I won't ignore it.
For sure. Now, our second guest is Amy. Thanks for being here today. Amy, so what was your experience?
Well, for 2 weeks, I had the same dream every night. I would see myself going to the corner store, and I would always buy different things. Milk, bread, cheese, just anything. But every time I was about to leave, I'd go back and buy a lottery ticket. And the ticket always had the same last 4 numbers, 8852.
So, did you go buy a ticket?
I wish I had, but I didn't. I had never bought a lottery ticket in my life, and always thought they were a stupid waste of money. Anyway, the dreams finally stopped, and the next day on TV, I saw that someone had won that lottery, and that they had bought the ticket at the store by my house. The winning number was 93968852. If I had paid attention to my dream, I could have won $34 million. If only I had bought a ticket. I keep hoping that I'll have another dream about a lottery ticket, but so far I haven't.
That's really disappointing.
I know. If I had won the lottery, I could have done so many things that I've dreamed of all my life.
Let's hope you have another dream soon.
Yes.
Our last guest is Bonnie. Welcome to the show, Bonnie.
Thanks.
So, what happened to you?
Well, it was really my husband Ian. Ian had been having this really bad feeling for weeks. He kept telling me that he had this horrible feeling that he wouldn't live to see the next year. I told him that he was silly and to stop talking like that. However, he continued to feel sad and worried. When we took a vacation with the kids in August, he told me to take lots of pictures of him and the kids, because that would be the last time we'd all be together. I was starting to really worry about him and thought he should visit a psychologist, but he refused. Then, in October, he had to take a trip to Boston for work. He was really worried about it, and the morning he left, he told me never to forget him, and that I should remember how much he loved me. On his way to the airport, a semi-driver lost control of his truck and hit my husband's car. It killed him instantly.
Oh my God.
It was horrible. About an hour after he left for the airport, some police officers rang the bell to the house, and I knew immediately. I wish I hadn't let him leave that day. If only I had listened to him. He knew something was going to happen, but I didn't want to believe it. If he had stayed home that day, he wouldn't have had the accident.
What a horrible experience. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. You know, people often don't pay attention to their feelings or those dreams or premonitions they have. But the next time you have one, I suggest you listen and pay attention. It might just save your life.
Thank you. Well, we're all going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Audio Practice 11.
Did you go to Dominic's party last weekend?
Yeah, but it was awful.
Why?
Well, first of all, he decided to have it outside. And remember, it was raining all day, so the grass was wet and muddy. And it was kind of cold out, so it was hard to be outside.
He should have covered the yard or had the party inside.
Exactly. Then his parents were there, so they kept putting on really old music, stuff from the 70s and 80s. We wanted to listen to our music and dance.
Dominic should have told his parents to let him put on his music.
Yes, and he should have had a place to dance. We couldn't dance because there was only muddy grass to dance on.
That doesn't sound like much fun.
It wasn't. Then there were sodas to drink, but no alcohol. You know his parents won't let him drink? I guess that would have been okay, but there was no food. They had put out some peanuts and chips, but that's all. By the time I left, I was starving.
They should have put out something to eat, even if it were only sandwiches.
Maybe there wasn't enough money, but in that case, they shouldn't have had the party in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I arrived, there were probably about 30 kids. But after about 2 hours, almost everyone had left. They couldn't dance, the music was horrible, there was nothing to eat, and the whole place was wet and muddy.
Well, I'm just glad I didn't go.
Well, I wish I hadn't gone. Next time he invites me to a party, I'll say no for sure.
Activity 2. Picture A.
Hey, Richard, what's up?
Nothing much.
Look, a lot of us here in the office are planning on going to the game at the stadium this weekend. Are you interested in going?
For the playoff game this Saturday night?
Yep.
Ah, man, I would love to be able to go. The thing is, I spent a lot of money recently. I went out with my buddies a couple of times in the past few weeks, and I just don't have enough money to go to the game, even though I would love to. I probably ought to make a budget. That way the next time something comes up, I'll be able to go.
That's too bad, because you know that new blonde girl that everyone's talking about?
Sheila in accounting?
Yeah, that's her. Supposedly she's going to be coming.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you all about it on Monday.
Picture B.
Dirk, are you okay in there? Do you need me to bring you anything, hon?
No, Mom.
Do you think you need to go to the doctor?
I might. I think I might have gotten a stomach infection.
Please tell me you haven't been eating street food again.
Actually, I had tacos at a taco stand earlier this afternoon.
What? You know that there's plenty of food at home for you to eat. There's no reason that you should be eating food in the street. It's not sanitary.
I know. The thing is, I woke up late this morning, and I didn't have time to pack any food to take with me.
Boy. When are you going to learn your lesson, Dirk? I'll call the doctor and see if he can fit you in before the office closes.
Picture C.
How do you plead to the charge of aggravated armed robbery?
Guilty, Your Honor.
For your despicable crimes, I hereby sentence you to 10 years of hard labor at the State Penitentiary for Men. Court is adjourned.
Oh my God! I'm not going to see my girls grow up. I won't get to see them graduate from high school or go on their first dates.
Look, I'm going to file an appeal as soon as I can to see if we can get a new trial.
This is all your fault. I knew you were a terrible lawyer from the get-go. Don't waste your time on the appeal. You're fired.
Audio practice 15.
Most people have heard of Apple computers, and many more have iPhones, iPads, or iPods, but don't know a lot about the man who made these products household names. Stephen Jobs was born in 1955 and was put up for adoption. He was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs. It was from his father that he first became interested in electronics. He wasn't a very good student and attended the university for only 6 months before dropping out. While still in high school, Jobs met Steve Wozniak, who was an electronics whiz kid and who was already working on building a computer. In 1973, Jobs began working for Atari, and with the money he earned, he decided to take a trip to India. When he returned, he began working with Wozniak again, and he convinced Wozniak to start the Apple Computer Company on April 1, 1976, and their first computer was called the Apple I. Next, they began to work on Apple II, and it was launched in 1978, earning them quite a bit of money and fame. Jobs continued to work for Apple until 1985 when he resigned and started the company Next. In 1986, he bought George Lucas's computer company, which later became Pixar. While Next did not do so well, the Pixar company was hired to make a full-length animated film called Toy Story. 1 week after Toy Story was launched in November of 1995, Jobs' net worth was valued at $1.5 billion. In 1996, Apple bought Next, and Jobs went back to Apple as an advisor. In July of 1997, Jobs became the interim CEO in Apple. Back at Apple as CEO, he began to create new and different products that would take Apple to the front of the computer industry, starting with the iPod in October of 2001, the iPhone in 2007, the MacBook Air in 2008, and the iPad in 2010. In 2003, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, but waited for 9 months to have surgery to remove the tumor. After the surgery, he did well for some time, but then his health began failing again, and in 2009, he had to have a liver transplant. At the time of his death in October 2011, Apple was said to be worth over $300 billion.
Unit 6. What a date.
How did your date with Tyler go last night?
Not very well.
Why? Is he married or something?
No, but you've seen Tyler, right?
Yeah, he's really handsome and seems very smart.
And what would you say about how he dresses?
Oh, he's a sharp dresser. He has looked great every time I've seen him.
That's what I thought. He's always clean, freshly showered, well-dressed, and impeccable.
Exactly.
So that's what was so weird. Last night he told me he'd pick me up at my apartment at 6 o'clock, and that we were going to go out for dinner and then to the movies. He was dressed casually in jeans, a nice shirt, a sweater, and brown loafers. Knowing what he always looks like, I also tried to dress nicely. I had on a pair of white jeans, a pink silk blouse, and my new black heels and a jacket. He arrived at 6, escorted me to his car, and opened the door for me.
That was very gentlemanly.
Yes, but then I saw the inside of the car. It was horrible.
What do you mean? Was it old?
Yes, and it was filthy. In the back seat there were papers, trash, bags from fast food restaurants, and it even smelled like rotten food.
Really?
Yeah, it was disgusting. I didn't even want to sit on the seat. It was dirty and had grease stains. When I got home, my white pants were dirty from sitting in his car.
Did he say anything about his car?
He was very apologetic about how dirty the car was and said he hadn't had time to clean it recently, but I don't think he's cleaned it in the last 5 years.
I had no idea.
It's too bad, really. Dinner was very pleasant. We talked quite a bit about our jobs and families. He's actually quite intellectual and has read and traveled extensively. Did you know he speaks English, Spanish, and German fluently?
Wow. So, what are you going to do? Will you go out with him again?
I don't know. I know I couldn't stand a ride in his car again. I think I should see his house to see if it's the same as his car. What if it's just like his car?
Oh my God. Do you think he might be one of those hoarders?
I don't know, but I think I need to find out before I really get involved in a relationship with him.
I agree.
Audio Practice 3.
Are you tired out and need energy? Do you feel exhausted after just 20 minutes in the gym? Well, we have the solution for you. Vitamin Max A to Z. With our new improved Vitamin Max A to Z, you'll feel better than you ever have in your life. You'll be able to run faster, jump higher, and last longer in your workouts. And the longer you can work out, the more muscles you can build and more fat you can lose. Listen to what some of our satisfied customers have to say.
With Vitamin Max A to Z, I've been able to run longer and farther than ever before. I don't get tired and my energy levels are through the roof. Even at work, I'm much more energetic. I work faster and more focused than ever before. Even my boss has noticed the difference.
I've been taking Vitamin Max A to Z for 3 months now, and it's been incredible. I used to do exercise once or twice a week, and I'd work slowly and lazily. Now my energy levels are incredible. I can work out faster and more focused than ever before. I do my routine much more energetically, and I feel I'm getting much stronger with it. I've also noticed that I can play actively with my twin boys all afternoon, and I don't get tired. I've never felt better in my life.
So, what are you waiting for? You too can feel more energetic and do more than you ever thought possible. Just call now for your Vitamin Max A to Z at 555-3MAX. That's 555-3629. You don't want to miss this opportunity.
Audio Practice 7. Dialogue 1.
Hi, is this the Lost and Found?
Yes.
I was wondering if someone turned in my cell phone.
Can you describe it?
Yes, it's small and rectangular in shape. It's white and has a purple case around it.
What brand is it?
It's a Samsung.
Is this it?
No, I'm afraid it isn't. Do you have any other white Samsung phones?
Let me see. No, I'm afraid I don't. When did you lose it?
About 30 minutes ago.
Why don't you check again in a couple of hours? Maybe someone will have turned it in.
Okay, thanks.
Dialogue 2.
Can I help you?
Yes, they told me this is the Lost and Found, right?
Yes, it is. Did you lose something?
Yes. Well, not me, really. It was my daughter. She lost her favorite stuffed toy.
What does it look like?
It's a white and brown dog. It's wearing a green plaid vest and it has on a pair of blue jeans.
Let me see. Would this be it?
Yes, that's Mr. Cuddles. My daughter will be so happy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dialogue 3.
Hi, they told me you have a lost and found here?
That's right. Did you lose something?
Yes, I had a shopping bag with 2 items in it, a blue wool scarf and a pair of black leather gloves.
What color or brand was the shopping bag?
Let me think. I got the items in Kaufman's, so the shopping bag should say Kaufman's on it.
I have a bag from Kaufman's, but there is only a white men's shirt in it.
No, that's not mine.
Wait, here's another bag. I think this might be yours. Are these the gloves and scarf you lost?
Yes, those are mine. Thank you so much.
Dialogue 4.
Is this the lost and found?
Yes. Did you lose something?
I lost my watch. A few minutes ago, I went to check the time and I realized it was missing. Has anyone turned in a watch?
We have various watches that people have turned in. Can you describe yours?
The face of the watch is white with black numbers. There is a small diamond at the number 12. The band is made of metal and is silver colored. It's a fairly expensive Swiss watch.
Let me see. Is this it?
No, mine is much nicer than that.
I'm afraid that I don't have it here. You can try checking back again later to see if someone turns it in.
Okay, thanks.
Audio Practice 11.
Hi, today on the Winifred Orion Show, we have with us the famous actress Ellie Rose. As you know, Ellie's new biography titled About My Life and Loves is now in bookstores. She will be talking about her book, her life and loves. Welcome to the show, Ellie.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, it was actually the birth of my first grandchild 2 years ago that made me want to share my story.
Very interesting. Since the title of your book says it's about life and loves, the first question most people want to ask is why you got married so many times. You got married a total of 6 times, right?
That's right. The first time I got married, I married my high school sweetheart, Jason Davis. I was only 18 years old, and I think I got married more because I wanted to get away from my parents than because I was really in love. Of course, that marriage only lasted 2 years. We fought a lot, and I kept thinking things would get better, but they didn't. So in the end, we got divorced.
18 is very young to get married. What about your second marriage?
I met my second husband, Robert Benson, when I was working on a movie. He was so interesting and entertaining. I loved being with him. We always had such a good time. We got engaged before we finished shooting the movie, and we were married in a small civil ceremony 2 months later. We were happy and always had fun, but I think that the problem was that I didn't really love him. I liked being with him, but I wasn't really in love. In the end, we got divorced less than a year after we got married.
And what about your third husband, Hugh Underwood? I read that he was the real love of your life. Is that true?
I met Hugh when I was on vacation in London. I was staying with some friends, and they introduced me to him. He was interesting, fun to be with, smart, and very handsome. I loved being with him. He treated me like a princess. We got married a year after meeting in a beautiful ceremony in London. We were married for 12 years and had 3 children, Maisie, Hugh Jr., and Ian. I truly loved him, but as you know, he was killed in a car crash. That was the worst day of my life.
Can't even imagine. What about husbands 4 and 5?
Well, to be honest, I got married to my 4th husband, Paul Tillman, because I was so desperately lonely after Hugh died. I was looking for someone to make the pain go away, and being married again helped. But that marriage ended in divorce too, after only 6 months. And the same thing happened with husband number 5, Aaron Gray. Aaron and I just weren't compatible. Everything he liked to do, I hated. And he hated everything I loved. That marriage only lasted a year and a half.
And what about your current husband, Brian Kane?
Well, I met Brian about 5 years after getting a divorce from my 5th husband. I wasn't really looking for love or another husband, so when we met, I saw Brian more as a friend. After spending time with him and being friends with him for almost 3 years, I realized that we really had a lot in common and that I loved him. In the end, we got engaged and got married. And now we have been married for 5 years. He's a wonderful husband and is also my best friend. I think that being friends first and really getting to know him is what made the difference. I'm truly happy at this point in my life.
Well, it certainly has been a long road, but it's great to know that you're happy and have found love again.
Yes, I'm truly blessed.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, our viewers will be asking Ellie some questions. We'll be right back.
Activity 2.
Dorodango is a traditional pastime that is very popular among Japanese children. The objective of this pastime is to make perfect spheres using only soil, water, and your hands. If you used to enjoy making mud cakes as a child, then this pastime is definitely one you will enjoy. Recently, the hobby has been elevated to art by adding hikaru to the balls. Hikaru dorodango is Japanese for shiny, round dirt. The finished product may look like a shiny stone, but it is very fragile. The finished hikaru dorodango look like billiard balls, and many proud collectors put them on display in their homes as decorations. Many children start stuffed animal collections with a teddy bear. They take their teddy bears to school for show and tell. As they grow, most of them stop collecting them, but some people continue their love for these toys until they are grown up. They love cuddling with soft, hairy, stuffed animals, and sometimes their whole house is decorated with them. This cute hobby is called arctophilia. Even though this word refers mainly to the collection of teddy bears, it has expanded to include all types of stuffed toys. In many countries, it is still customary for couples to give each other stuffed animals on Valentine's Day and on other romantic celebrations. Many people are afraid of ghosts and spirits, and they feel uneasy when they go to cemeteries. Others actually like to go to these places to see different fascinating tombstones. This hobby is called taphophilia. Taphophiles spend hours in cemeteries analyzing the text on gravestones or taking pictures of them. In some famous graveyards, there are sculptures on crypts that are true works of art. The Père Lachaise Cemetery in Paris has some of the most beautiful and admired crypts in the world, such as Oscar Wilde's, Chopin's, or Arbelo's. In recent times, taphophiles have discovered the Bridge to Paradise Cemetery in Xcaret, Mexico. It has become an international destination for people who enjoy this pastime. Fishing is not an unusual pastime, although many people think it's boring to sit in silence waiting for a fish to bite. There is a hobby related to fishing, except you don't use a rod or a hook. You only use your hands. It is called noodling. This hobby is particularly popular in the southern United States, and it involves catching catfish using your hands. Catfish live buried in the ground, so the first thing a noodler does is find a catfish hole with his feet, which must be quite sensitive. Then he dives and tries to catch the fish with his hands when it tries to escape.
Unit 7, Practice 2.
Hey, Hannah, did you hear what happened to Corey?
No, what?
He was arrested and put in jail.
You're kidding. Why?
It seems he went out drinking with Kevin and Brian last weekend. They were at Dylan's pub downtown, and some guys started a fight with them. Well, Corey hit one of the guys, and he fell and hit his head. The police arrived, and they called an ambulance to take the guy to the hospital because he was still unconscious, so they arrested Corey.
That doesn't seem fair. He didn't start the fight, did he?
No, it seems the guy who's in the hospital started it, but because he's still unconscious, they arrested Corey. Besides, Corey's blood alcohol level was really high. He'd been drinking for quite a few hours.
So, what's going to happen?
It depends a lot on whether the guy regains consciousness.
And if he doesn't? Or if he dies?
I don't even want to think about it. But if he died, Corey could go to jail for killing him.
That's horrible. Corey should have never gone out. He should have stayed home and had a few drinks.
I agree, but you know how much he loves going to Dylan's pub.
Yeah, I know. Have you talked to Corey's mom? How is she doing?
I called her yesterday. She's pretty upset. She said that Corey is such a great guy and he was doing so well at his new job, but that now with this, she doesn't even know if he'll have a job after this. Hi. How are you? Really? Oh, that's great news. What do the doctors say? Right. Excellent. Thanks for letting me know.
Who is that? Was it about Corey?
Yes. The guy in the hospital just woke up a couple of hours ago and he's fine. He'll be in the hospital a few more days for tests, but he seems fine.
That is excellent news.
Corey will probably have to pay for the hospital bills. But since the guy seems to be okay, they probably will let him out of jail in the next few days.
I hope he will have learned his lesson. Don't drink and don't get into bar fights with anyone.
Agreed.
Activity 2.
Hi, Marco.
Oh, hi, Kevin.
So, how did the job interview go at Miles Tech?
I'm not sure. I thought I was ready, but it was harder than I thought, and I don't think they liked me.
Really? Why do you say that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I was dressed appropriately.
Did you wear a suit?
No, I know it's a casual company, so I only wore a nice pair of black dress pants and a clean white shirt.
That was your first mistake. You should have worn a suit. Even if the company is casual, and even if you don't have to wear a suit to work, you should wear a suit to a job interview. One of the first things they look at is how you're dressed. What about the interview itself? What did they ask you?
The interviewer asked me about myself and my previous experience, but the question I couldn't answer very well was when he asked me what I knew about the company. I know they make computers, but that's about it.
Did you investigate the company before the interview?
I was going to, but I forgot.
That was your second mistake. You should have found out as much as you could about the company before the interview. If you had done some investigation, you would have been able to answer the question, and he would have felt you were really interested in the company and the job.
I guess you're right.
And what about eye contact? Remember, I told you to make sure you made eye contact with the interviewer, to smile, to speak clearly and enthusiastically.
Yeah, I tried to do that, but the guy that was interviewing me really made me nervous. In fact, he asked me at one point if I was comfortable because I kept moving around in the chair.
It sounds to me like you were just too nervous. You should probably practice doing interviews before you go to another one. If you want, I can help you.
Thanks, that would be great.
We definitely need to work on what you should say, but more importantly, on what you do. Did you know that most people are not hired because of non-verbal mistakes that they make?
Really? Like what?
They don't make eye contact, they don't smile, they play with their hair or ring or something similar, they have bad posture, they don't give a good handshake, they cross their arms, they don't know much or anything about the company. All of these things make it very easy for a company to decide not to hire a person.
I see. I know I made some of those mistakes. If I had talked to you before the job interview and had practiced, I might have gotten the job.
Exactly. So let's get together tomorrow and practice so that the next time you have an interview, you'll be much more prepared.
Agreed.
Hola, buen día. Primero que nada, gracias por estar viendo este video, por tu tiempo, esta video presentación. Mi nombre es Isaac Badillo, asesor financiero con 10 años de carrera bancaria. Actualmente me especializo en el área de divisas, tipo de cambio, ofreciendo lo que son estrategias, herramientas y servicios para optimizar esos ejercicios, esas operaciones. ¿Cómo? Con posturas, órdenes en mercado, un sistema que se queda trabajando 5 días de la semana, los 24 horas que el mercado está activo. Análisis técnico, básicamente la verificación de gráfico para sacar tendencias, soportes y resistencias, ver probabilidades y pronósticos. Y administración de riesgos para administrar lo que es a un lapso de tiempo, proteger la tesorería de la empresa por la volatilidad de precios. Mi nombre es Isaac Badillo, gracias por mirar este video. Saludos.